Light's on. We're here at Golden Black Live. Our screen's not on though, Gordon. I don't know if our maybe Amber, absolutely coming in big. Nope, you just turned it off. That's okay. We don't need to see ourselves, but it's coming back.
Great start.
We are here at Golden Black Live, and poor Brian Brohm, he didn't know what he's getting into, but we're already up. But it's such a gorgeous day in West Lafayette today, which it always is in West Lafayette. You're coming to find this is the best winter we've ever had here, and you're part of it in terms of weather. And what are we doing inside? We're here to talk some Purdue football with Brian Brohm, Stacy Clarity. Welcome to the show, and you haven't been doing anything here for the last couple of months around Purdue football.
It's been a pretty busy last few months. The whole recruiting process really took up all of January, and now we're finally getting to dig in with our guys and get to learn more about our players. And spring ball starts up here soon. We're anxious to get started.
Another Purdue first, February 27th. I think first time we've had spring ball in February, but we're full of all kinds of things.
You've only been a coach for a year. I talked to Robert Marv, who was a former quarterback here and also a teammate of yours, and I was like, man, he's only coached for a year though, man. He's like, he was a professional player for 8 years. That's like 15 years of coaching. I mean, what has the transition been like for you, and has it been different?
Yeah, that's great you talked to Robert. We played in Winnipeg together.
Yeah.
Actually, we're roommates on the road, and we were both actually. I was the backup, and he was the third-team guy for a while. And I played, and he got to play. So we had a good relationship where we would help each other. I would, when he was in there, I'd try to help him out as much as I could, and kind of. The end of my career, kind of when I was in Canada, really is when I thought, I think I want to be a coach, and I try to carry myself that way while I was playing. I would try to help out the other quarterbacks, and I wasn't the starter all the time, so it was almost the starter comes off the field, give him feedback, and the guys kind of looked to me for that a little bit while I was playing. But the first year of coaching at Western was a great experience. Had a new starting quarterback last year in Mike White, who started at South Florida a little bit but then transferred in. It was his first year starting at Western, and he did a phenomenal job. Our offense did a great job as well. Did walk into a place that had it rolling, had it going pretty well, but felt like it was a great first experience, first year. And, I think more than just being a first year of coaching or second year of coaching, the experience I've had playing and just being kind of in the family that I'm in, being around football my entire life. There hasn't been a year where I haven't been in that quarterback meeting room and been around guys in that situation. So it's pretty natural for me.
I thought it was interesting. Sorry, Alan, I'm going to interrupt here. Talked to, we've talked to both your brothers, talked to Oscar, his father, and he's the calm one, nothing phases, Brian, maybe not necessarily unlike your brothers, but just a different personality a little bit. How does that, though, when you're a coach and maybe you have a guy who doesn't get it right away? I mean, how does that kind of translate? Are you that way even as a coach?
As a coach, I am still fairly calm, and I try to stay level-headed and not go up and down. I think the guys really react well to having a steady voice, that good or bad, right or wrong, they can count on me to kind of give them the same message every time, same message every day. And I like that our head coach is a fiery guy, especially on game day, and he can get after the players, and he can love them up. So he can go to the two extremes, and I feel like we're kind of a good combination, because if he does want to go to the extreme and chew the guy out, I can get on the phone with him with a level, calm voice and kind of bring him back down. So I really think we have a good combination of how we're going to coach the quarterbacks, and he's able to get on them because I'm going to be able to bring him back down.
Are you a film-obsessed guy, or are you a leadership guy? I'm sure they're both ingredients of what you do, but is it won or lost in how well you can outthink opponents, or is it won and lost by how well you can lead and execute?
Well, I think execution is definitely the most important. And outthinking the opponent, I think, is part of that, but you can't just have all these great ideas and not be able to execute them. So I think execution is what we're really striving to have, is have high execution on the field with what we're trying to do and understanding how we're trying to attack the defense, why we're doing certain things we're doing. Our quarterbacks need to know that. They need to know how we need to execute this play and really what we're looking for play in and play out. Yeah. That's the most important. Leadership is important, but for a quarterback position, to me, it isn't the top of the list. Mm-hmm. Decision-making, toughness, accuracy are my top three things that I'm always going to evaluate. And then there's all these other things that encompass the quarterback. There's about 20 different adjectives you can throw out there. We want this and this and this, but those are the three things I'll be focused on most with my guys.
There's a lot going on right now in terms of the install you've given them. I talked to David Blau last week. There's a lot of plays, a lot of concepts that they're learning right now, and you're in the meeting room with them and you quiz them.
Yeah.
Every so often, they don't always answer correctly, I'm sure, at this stage, but are they grasping it?
I think they are.
At a good pace
I think
right
they are.
now?
I really do. We got a smart group of quarterbacks, guys that obviously been coached up in the past, and they know football, and they want to be good, so that really helps out. These guys, they come in, they're prepared. They've studied the playbook the day before the meeting or before they come in the meeting. Mm-hmm. They know what we're kind of going to be talking about before they get there. And they've done a really good job of digging in and trying to grasp all the concepts because we're going to throw a lot at them. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be, first day we're just going to run 3 or 4 plays. Right. We're going to run quite a bit on the first day of practice. Mm-hmm. So they're going to need to be ready to go and ready to really, if their teammates don't know, try to help them a little bit. And they won't be there right in the beginning. Because they'll be trying to figure it out themselves, right. But that's where we want them to get to where they can kind of be the coach on the field, and if a guy has a question, they can ask the quarterback, and he can answer it for them.
And they've had to do that some now, right? I mean, they're doing player-led.
Yeah, right now they're the ones leading it, so right. We try to keep it kind of simple when they're out there leading it right now.
Yeah.
And they're in charge, they're running it, and guys are asking them questions, and I think that's helping them. They'll get questions asked, and if maybe they don't know the answer, then they'll come ask us or ask me, right. What do we do in this situation? What are we trying to do here? And I can give them the answer to that.
Stacy talked about you've only been a year removed from playing. How much of that washing out did you have to do as a player in terms of how you approach the kids you're coaching? Because they're not you. They don't play the game the same way as you do or did. Was that a process for you, or is that still a process for you?
I think it is a process where you need to understand that all guys learn a different way. All guys think a little bit differently. So, for the most part, the best thing I'm going to know is what was good for me, what worked for me. But that always isn't going to be the case with the guy that you're coaching. So, I think the experience of being on many different teams, around many different coaches, in the same room with a lot of different quarterbacks. Yeah. And being able to pick their brains about what they liked, what helped them, and kind of having that to reference has helped me kind of relate to my players where I can compare one of the guys to he's like this guy I played with. He learns by seeing pictures. Yeah. He learns by seeing film. Or this guy really learns if he can get on the board and draw it up. And we'll try to use every single one of those avenues to make sure that we're hitting all the aspects because one guy might learn better a different way than another.
Yeah, 2 guys you have coming back are pretty cerebral guys, and David Blau and Elijah Sindelar are guys that are academically capable, but that doesn't always translate into being able to be a quick decision maker. I'm not saying that David Blau, for example, isn't. I'm just saying, do you find that correlation at all, or is it?
There is somewhat of a correlation, but you're correct in saying that a guy can get it in the meeting room and be right on it all the time, and sometimes when you get to the field, the recall isn't as quick and it doesn't come as quickly. And there's guys that sometimes you're in the meeting room with them and say, I don't know if he's got it, and when he goes out there, he executes it perfectly. Obviously, you want both. You want them to be able to know it all and get it all as quick as they can in the meeting room, and same thing on the field. But sometimes it doesn't translate quite apples for apples, but it is important to be able to try to do both those things at a high level.
You're going to find out a lot more about the guys you have, obviously, over the next, month or so. But what you've seen so far, how much film did you watch? What do you think, just generally?
I've watched a good amount of the film of the guys from practice and from games, but I'm trying to keep I try to keep an open mind. I don't want all my value. I don't want to come in with a preconceived notion that this guy can do this and he can't do this. I want to see it on the field for myself when I'm working with him. Obviously, David did a great job last year. He led the Big Ten in passing, touchdowns, and he made a lot of big plays. I think the things he needs to work on are, staying a little bit calmer in the pocket and not forcing the ball into tough crowds where he's going to be throwing interceptions. The other guys, there's not as much game footage of them, but they've shown some flashes in practice of their talent. Elijah has a big arm. He can stroke the ball down the field, and he gives us a vertical passing threat. And Jared has shown that he can throw the ball as well, and he's got some athleticism to him. So really looking forward to seeing what these guys have and being able to work with them on a day-in, day-out basis.
The competitive side, and you get to ask this question almost the first time through, you have two older brothers and a competitive family of very good athletes. What impact did they have on you? And because they're a little bit older, was it more friends, and the friends you rolled with that made you a competitive guy, or was it trying to, I don't know if live up, but certainly emulate the success that both Greg and Jeff had in the field?
They definitely had a huge impact on me growing up, building that competitiveness and really bringing it out of me. They were 15 and 14 years older than me, so I really kind of grew up with three coaches, more so than peer competitiveness. They were pretty much grown.
And we're not even asking about Dad. But
so my dad was always coaching me, and then my brothers, they would come and watch me play as I grew up, and we go back to the house, and I remember scoring like 33 points in a basketball game, and I thought I did pretty well, and I come home, and they have all these tips and pointers and things I could have done better, and they take me out in the back. We play for about 2 more hours, hoops. So it's always kind of been that way where, I had a pretty big advantage as a youngster, having them around, because I was getting elite level coaching from the time I started playing sports, compared to everyone around me who, their parents probably tried to help them out, but I was getting elite level instruction and being pushed to the max. So it definitely helped me develop as a competitor and as a player.
Whether you wanted it or not.
Whether I wanted it or not. I wasn't raising my hand asking for it, but it was there. It was there for me.
The gift that keeps on giving, as they say. What makes Jeff good at what he does?
I think it is his competitiveness. He's a fiery guy. He's always been that way. He's been very competitive. He was a great athlete, fantastic at playing quarterback. He was kind of the runaround quarterback before they were popular. And he was good at basketball. He was a high draft pick in baseball. So he's been an elite level athlete and has that competitiveness to him. And he's a player's coach, but he can push those guys to become better. And I think since he has played the position and he has played it at a high level, I think guys respect him when he can come at them with some intensity to get them to raise their level, because he's done it before. So he brings that to the table, and then he's an X's and O's guy. He knows football in and out. He's worried, his big part, he's worried about the football.
So we keep hearing.
He's not as much worried about what shoes we're wearing and what uniform we're wearing. He could care less. He's worried about the football, the on-field product, and I think it shows that we spend a lot of time on the X's and O's and on the football aspect of it.
You're the quarterback's coach. He was a quarterback. He's the play caller on offense. How does that balance work? I mean, obviously you're the position coach, but is he, kind of sneaking over there?
Yeah, he does. He comes over and he'll give his pointers and 2 cents. And I was coached by him at Louisville, so a lot of the things that I believe in that I've done in the past are what he coaches as well, because that's kind of what he coached me to do and what I did. So we have kind of the same train of thought. Now I have taken a few new things that I learned along the way that maybe he hadn't incorporated yet. So I think it is good that we're getting the guys all that different type of instruction, and he can draw from his experiences of playing the NFL, the guys he's played with, coached under, and I can do the same. They're different guys, so we have a lot of things I think we can bring to our quarterbacks.
What makes you optimistic? You know, it's a big job here. I mean, they've struggled the last few years. And what makes you optimistic that she can turn it around?
You know, I think this is a great place with a lot of tradition. We got guys, just from being around the little I've been, people want to win here. Yeah. These kids, they are working hard. They want to be good. They just need the right direction, the right leadership, and we need to be able to go recruit and get the best players we can get to come here. But the guys that are here, they want to be good, yeah. And that's where it starts. You got to have guys that want to do it, that'll put in the work, put in the time, and I think we have those guys here right now. So we got to get the most we can out of them.
The greatest quarterbacks in the history of football come from the city of Louisville, I'm told. However, what are you going to work? You know, in terms of recruiting, you know, what are you looking for as you move ahead? I mean, are there places? Are there geographic areas, or you go get them wherever they are? But there's certain places in the country where they say these are the kind of guys that fit our offense the best.
I don't know about places in the country, but we'll recruit a 3-hour radius of Purdue, and we'll try to get all the ones that are good enough to play here. We're going to try to get them here. Mm-hmm. We don't want them to leave and go out and go elsewhere. And then, you know, we're going to recruit the Midwest. We're going to recruit the South. We'll go a little bit out west because Purdue has some ties there. Purdue has some ties in Texas, so we'll have to tap into that a little bit as well. Quarterbacks, we're going to go find the best one we can find. And we're going to, I don't care if he's in Australia, we're going to go find him. So we'll nationally recruit the quarterback position and try to get the best one we can get.
At the recruiting roundup, is that what it was called?
Yes.
The JPC thing that you got to speak on signing day and talk to everybody. You said, hey, man, we can do 2 tight end. We can do 2 back. We can do, you know, we can spread them out. Do you know what you will do? Or you're just saying we have this to kind of be able to do all of those
We will do all of it.
Okay.
And that is our plan. We want to use both tight ends. We want to use 5 wide receiver sets. We want to use a big back. We want to use a quick back. We want to use the full back. We want to be multiple where that defense cannot prepare for our personnel. They can't prepare for our formations. And they don't know what we're going to do at any given time. So the more we can do to keep the defense on their toes, the better for us.
Your experience around Purdue football, just in terms of, have you been to Ross-Ade Stadium growing up? I think Jeff had said something that the family had taken a trip there. You might not have been born yet.
I have not.
You've not set foot in Ross-Ade Stadium yet for
a game. No, I have not.
So a new experience from that standpoint. But you know, you look at opportunity and at your age and experience, there's a lot to be learned. But what makes this job fun for you, and what makes it the challenge? That is it just the challenge, or is it just the fact that you just absolutely live and breathe football?
Well, first off, I love football. I love being around football. I love the camaraderie that the game brings. I love the quarterback room, especially being in there every single day with those guys talking ball. Those are the things I love, and specifically here, the challenge of getting this program back to where it's supposed to be, to get it back on the top of the Big Ten, and you know, making that happen. I think that is a challenge that is exciting. It's going to be a fun experience, and we're just ready to get started, ready to get going.
We have time for one more, Stacy.
I'm going to go random here.
Okay. Yeah.
I read a story that said something about Thanksgiving Day turkey bowls.
Well, I wanted to ask it, but go ahead. I'm glad you asked that.
Were you part of those? What was that exactly?
You know, I came in kind of at the later part
did
of
you?
it.
Okay.
I came in at the later part of it, but we definitely still had them basically until I got into high school and couldn't really be a part of it. But it was my dad and his brothers, and he's a family of 9, so there's quite a few of them. And then all the people they kind of grew up with, and they're in Shively is what it's called in Louisville, the town of Shively. And they used to play in my grandparents' backyard, which wasn't very big and was fenced in, and they would play tackle. And they got video of it. We've watched it many times. We got home videos of it. They had full out tackle. Then it kind of, as they got older, it changed into a 2-hand touch game. And actually, there's been one injury that happened in it, and my dad broke his ribs and punctured his lung His brother ran him over running a route,
Oh
and the ball didn't even have the ball, and we weren't playing tackle. It was two-hand touch that year, so it got a little intense and physical, and they'd always give an MVP and an LVP at the end of the game, so it was kind of a big ordeal. It doesn't really go on anymore, but
That's a shame. That could be suitable for
it was definitely
broadcast.
something fun to be a part of and be around.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, did you do it was it the same time every day? I mean, so you had to have turkey dinner at the same time? Was it all
The
kinds
turkey
of
bowl was always in the morning.
Oh, in
so
the
you
morning.
wake up and you go play the game, and then you go eat your dinner and your lunch and dinner, and they'd argue about who had the best game and
Good strategy.
and who won and what your stats were, and that would be the whole conversation the whole day at the Thanksgiving dinner.
All right. Well, we have now on this show had all three of the Brohm brothers, and they're all different, but they're all very interesting. We're all going to look forward to getting to know them better here in the next days, weeks, months, years to come. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us, and appreciate Matt Rector bringing him up as well. We will take a short break and bring in another legend, Larry LeClisby, will be on to join, and we'll talk a little Purdue men's basketball as well. That'll be fun as well as we get to segment 2 on Gold and Black Live.